Hello. Hopefully everything's going well with everyone. I haven't posted a video in quite a while. My apologies for that. I've been caught up in some of the other social media platforms, as well as researching some things. And so I just thought I would, while on the way over to a job, just thought I would put together a video, just some thoughts that I thought I would try to convey concerning something I feel that is very important, and that is the basis for human origins and the importance of it. Now my research hasn't taken me beyond the origins of humanity in order to say, well, if so-and-so made us, well, who made so-and-so? I haven't gotten there because for myself personally, the importance is on our origins and where we come from, because that sort of helps to recognize where we are at in the grand scheme of things. And so to try to put it together in a small, in a sort of a summary, the beginnings of humanity start, many hundreds of thousands of years ago. And it begins with the search for gold. And not the gold in the way that we think, not the yellow gold. The yellow gold consists of 8 atoms bonded together to give it that form. But what we're talking about is something called monoatomic gold, or when you take that yellow gold and you can break it down into a singular atom, or a monoatomic level. Now, the reason for the search for gold was the entities who needed it. And yes, these are entities, these are off-world entities. These off-world entities on their homeworld of Nibiru, their atmosphere was sustained by volcanic activity. And through the eons, that volcanic activity began to diminish. Well, that began to diminish their atmosphere. So they decided that the best recourse of action would be to suspend aerosols or suspend particulates in their atmosphere in an attempt to repair the breach. Almost as if they had a hole in their ozone layer, right? Well, the search for this monoatomic gold led one of these beings, one of these Nibiruans, to Earth. Because and the story that I'm telling is not a story in the sense that it's a fictional, made-up story. It's rather an oral telling of histories that were documented on clay tablets and ancient civilizations recorded history. Things such as the Epic of Gilgamesh, the Enuma Elish, the Atrahasis, even some of the Vedic texts from India speak of these things. And of course course, the clay tablets of Sumeria. Now, the search for the monoatomic gold, which the monoatomic gold is a material that, when broken down into the finest powders, allows for the greatest suspension in the atmosphere. So these beings who, without going too far into it, each of the planets in the cosmos are conscious beings. They're conscious entities, and they have a life essence, and they have a blood flow, but not in the sense that we think about it. It's not in the sense of a cellular blood makeup flowing through our veins, but it's something that has been termed black goo, for lack of a better description. And what it is it's a sentient oil that, where in the earth, as an example, in the earth you have these water courses that run below the surface, and these water courses run throughout the entire planet, similar to veins in the body. Well, these water courses, they run concurrent with the energetic ley lines, and these water courses and these ley lines, when there's an intersection and the flow is in opposing directions, it creates a vortex. And this spinning vortex, when it reaches a certain level, all right, and it's sort of a certain acoustic type level. So you have these water courses that intersect, create these vortexes. These vortexes flow at a certain acoustic level or a certain frequency, mirrored with the energetic ley lines. Well, all of those components combine to create something called sentient oil, or black goo. And this is the consciousness of the earth. This contains empathy. It's where animals get their instincts. It's where humans get their instincts. Because before these non-terrestrials went in search of a material to repair the breach in their atmosphere and landed on this planet, the primate species of that time, Homo habilis, Homo erectus, had that connection to the earth consciousness. That's how animals know when it's time to migrate. That's how they know when it's time for mating season. That's how they know how to behave without somebody teaching or telling them. So that comes from the earth consciousness. And the base primate, or the hominids, hominid being a creature that walks on two legs, was in existence before these entities from Nibiru got here. So with that in mind, the folks from Nibiru, one is able to enter into a spaceship, get through the asteroid belt, make it to Earth. Now these beings were much older, and they were a member of the Saurian race. The Saurians are what we would call the reptilians. And just as there are many different races of humans, there are different races of Saurians. So you have some reptilians that were on Nibiru, and then you've got other reptilians. So we don't lump them all together in one group. So for instance, we've heard of the Dracos, or the Draconis, and those are the reptilians that came from the Draconis star system. However, your Nibiruans are from this solar system. Nibiru means the planet of crossing. So at the formation of this solar system, as the planets had yet to establish their orbits around the sun, this rogue planet, or this celestial wanderer, named Nibiru crossed, and the reason they call it the planet of crossing is because the planets in this solar system, they all have a set pattern of rotation or orbit around the sun, and they all are at certain distances, and they all kind of sort of rotate on the same plane, planular to the sun. While Nibiru, in its crossing, it intersects almost perpendicular to those orbits. It has an extremely long elliptical orbit. Well, in the beginning, they made it to Earth. They discovered this monoatomic gold. They discovered the gold in abundance. And there was a mission established to harvest that gold. So a group of these Nibiruans made it to Earth to harvest the gold. And through the process of trying to harvest this monoatomic gold, which was present in the waters, they discovered that the harvest was not going to be enough to repair the breach. They could not sustain the repair to the breach because it just they didn't have it in enough, in a large enough quantity. So then it was determined that the gold needed to be mined from the earth. So rather than being able to harvest it from the waters, they had to mine it from the earth. So the original group that was here began to do the mining, the physical extraction of the gold from the earth. And over a period of time, which was extremely physical and difficult, labor-intensive work. And so over time, these warriors of Nibiru that had been doing the mining, they call them the heroes. Well, over time, they grew to despise the work because it was too difficult, because of the cycles. And so a demand for some type of relief was prevalent. This demand became almost revolt, an uprising, at which point it was determined that the possibility to genetically alter the primate species, the original hominid that was on the earth, the Homo habilis, Homo erectus, was decided to be plausible. So these genetic modifications took place. Now at this point is where it's important to remember that early hominid had the connection to the earth, had the connection to the earth consciousness, and the Saurian race had the connection to the cosmos. Well, the Saurian race, being one of the original sub-creators, provided because the genetic manipulations was a combining of that primate DNA with the reptilian DNA. That reptilian DNA added to the primate created a hybrid between the two, which retained the connection to the earth consciousness, as well as now a connection to the cosmos. It generated the I wonder, and the awareness. Now, that is where it becomes so important to understand where we come from, because that gives us a unique ability in the cosmos. We retain the earth consciousness as well as the cosmic awareness, and we have that unique ability to combine the two, so we can be a conduit to make that connection, which then allows for us to be a creator species. We create our own reality. Now my time is running short on this, so I was hoping to present some information to think about, and I hope that it motivates people to possibly look further into it. So I appreciate your time, and thank you very much.